So okay, I'll put it like this is my experience, I guess, with having something that did go viral with like millions of views, like where my head was at the time. First off, like back then, Facebook was like the platform. There wasn't that many other things that
Yes.
competed with it. Like, and then there was these things called Facebook event pages where you could create an event page and then I like figured out some like button that I could press where like I could invite all of someone's friends. And so what I was doing was like I would like invite all of their friends and let them in for free, for example, right? And so then like I would get like 100,000 people invited on this page. And then it would be like this like thing where there's 100,000 people on it and they're all looking and commenting. And so it became like viral kind of. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that's very interesting because that's basically when it's one market or one channel,
Yeah.
basically Facebook, there's not a lot of options, right? As there
It
is
was the
today.
only option, and then
Right.
on top of that, like, I basically knew this guy. I was his tennis coach, and so he had, like, a mansion, like, house in Beverly Hills, and so we marketed it as, like, a Beverly Hills mansion party, and then I got, like, at the time, the, like, 2 or 3 biggest, like, house party promoters to do it with me, and they did it with me because I had the house, so I, like, had built-in leverage
You
with it.
Yeah, you almost had some X factors in there, right? With all
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
different
wasn't
mix.
yeah, so it wasn't like I just accidentally posted something and it went viral. It
No.
was like it was calculated and I tried to like make it as hype as possible, but that being said, I didn't predict nor could I have predicted that like it would get as big as it did. So I would say that like most of the time with going viral, you kind of just have to do what you think is like sick and like what you think is the best version of that thing. And if all the stars align and it's like, it pulls out like that, then sometimes things can go viral, you know?
Right. And how did you, kind of, stay in the moment after that event? And then you said you went and did other events. So what kickstarted that into other follow-ons?
I for sure like the one of the first thoughts I had when that happened was, okay, this went viral or this was a hit, but I need to like do something next to keep the momentum going. So I was already like consciously aware of that. And I would say with the entertainment business, you have to always have hits. Like it's like
Yes.
just because one thing hits, like you got to keep going or, you're a one hit wonder or it's a fast turnaround, so it
You
was
need to
almost
stay you
like
need to st you need to stay current, right? You
yeah.
need to be in front of people's phones or
Yeah, like,
whatever at the
I
time.
even explain this to artists, like, when they're starting out that aren't famous yet or they're trying to become famous, like, and I'm definitely not, like, famous, like, I don't if I go to, like, Trader Joe's right now, no one's, like,
Oh,
asking me for
Lord.
my photo, but, I've been in Rolling Stone, I've been in TMZ, I've been in Daily Mail, I've been around just about any name you can be around. So I would say that, my experience with fame is it's not like there's like one button and you're famous. It's more like a compilation of like steps and things that just happen. And at least for me, it's like each year I just feel like I'm kind of like bigger or I have more stuff going on and more people know about me. But it wasn't like there was like an instant thing where one of it made me like famous, if does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's being current, it's being, in the public scene, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, they always say in social media, it's always like it's not the number of posts, it's the frequency of the post or
Yeah.
the social event or whatever you're trying to yeah.
From backyard parties to viral fame, the power of opportunistic entrepreneurship. Connor's beginnings are rooted in simple aspirations, a 19-year-old throwing backyard parties. His first success, a mansion event called Project X, was more than just a party. It was a leverage point that gained media attention, including features on World Star Hip Hop and Fox News. These early wins exemplify how small beginnings in local scenes can seed larger opportunities when harnessed correctly.
All right, gentlemen, everybody that's joining us, welcome to another installment of Be Your Own Boss. I'm your host, David Gambill. where we discuss a person's life, career, and what got them to this point. Our guest today is Connor Tracy. He built a non traditional career across music, nightlife, entrepreneurship, and civic leadership. Connor, please introduce yourself to the audience and share your backstory. Greetings and welcome, Connor.
Yeah, greetings and welcome as well, David, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I guess as a broad title, I guess I'm an entrepreneur. And under that, I mainly float between hospitality and music. And now, in the past like year or two, been a bit of a civic twist in there as well. So I can dive in on all that. But that's kind of me in a nutshell on what I am.
Yeah. Well, kind of go into how you got into all this. How did you
Yeah, yeah,
start with
yeah.
the music? Start with
So
your,
yeah, so I started off doing events first. So when I was 19, I basically started doing my own events. Started super simple where it was like my 19th birthday and someone let me do a party in their backyard at their house. And then flash forward, maybe like 6 months, I did like a mansion party, called it Project X on Facebook, and ended up getting on like World Star Hip Hop and Fox News and LA Times and all that. And from there, kind of had just like a gut feeling that I was onto something. And so then started kind of like going online, booking artists, renting out venues, selling tickets on Facebook event pages. And this was all when I was 19. So happened.
and to just talk about the area you're in. You're in the LA area?
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up more like I typically feel like I grew up in Venice, like Venice Beach. My mom's house was like a block away from the high school, but I went to Santa Monica High School and grew up mainly on the west side. My dad was an electrician. My mom was a hairstylist, so didn't really. Even though I grew up in LA, felt like I had a pretty normal childhood. Didn't really like experience like being around like a bunch of celebrities all the time or going to like fancy restaurants, but kind of I definitely like remember like I went to like this church like St. Monica's growing up. I remember seeing like Schwarzenegger there and like so I would like see, but I wasn't like friends with these people nor were my parents. So I guess I still feel like even though growing up in LA, I had like a very normal like childhood and I wasn't like exposed to all the nightlife stuff until I was like 19.
So you feel like you're adjacent, or maybe not, not even aware of that, right? Because you're in the neighborhood of celebrities, but not actually in that neighborhood or adjacent. Would you think that was the case?
I would say it like this, like, I guess for one, like, when you're a kid, like, you don't really think that much about
You
stuff like
don't.
that.
Yeah.
So, like, I wasn't even maybe necessarily conscious or aware of like LA was the entertainment central of the world or America or whatever. It was more just like, oh, like
It's
I
L.
I go to things sometimes and like there's a famous person there, but like and obviously that's like kind of crazy, but it wasn't like I wasn't putting that much thought into it necessarily. It wasn't like, well, this is because I'm in LA here. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of leading into how did you started with that your birthday party event for yourself.
Yeah.
It sound like you're kind of like in that, not aware that you're in that mix, but you're easily recognizable maybe at that time. And how long ago was this? This is about
This is a long time ago. So like my 19th birthday would have been like November of 2011. So I've been doing this like really almost like close to what, 15 years or something like that.
yeah. So that's a over half a decade and a half.
Yeah.
So what do you think maybe because your proximity allowed you to have that type of success
Yeah, I
as a
mean, I think
starting?
it's like, if I grew up in San Francisco, maybe I would have ended up in the tech business, or if it was in New York, maybe it was just, I think like, I just happened to like fall into it where I started doing events and it made sense because that's where a lot of like entertainment people were and whatever, but I didn't have like a grand plan in the beginning. It was just kind of like I would honestly just say it was a fluke. It
Well,
was
yeah, as back in the 2011 or so is going viral. So
yeah.
do you think that proximity that it picked up steam because of maybe the influence from Arnold is following you or something to that effect? Maybe that proximity kind of
Yeah,
kickstarted it. that would
No,
have
no, I mean,
normally?
well, yeah, I mean, like, to back up, I mean, I don't I never, like, met him, and I don't think that he even knows me, so, like, I don't like, for example, like, just because I saw him, like, go to my church, it was a big church, by the way, too,
Right.
it 5
Right.
plus people or something, but, like, I don't think that any of that had to do with the party going viral or me in the beginning, like, I think that,
Well
like
well, what do you think, kind of was that success mix?
so okay, I'll put it like this is my experience, I guess, with having something that did go viral with like millions of views, like where my head was at the time. First off, like back then, Facebook was like the platform. There wasn't that many other things that
Yes.
competed with it. Like, and then there was these things called Facebook event pages where you could create an event page and then I like figured out some like button that I could press where like I could invite all of someone's friends. And so what I was doing was like I would like invite all of their friends and let them in for free, for example, right? And so then like I would get like 100,000 people invited on this page. And then it would be like this like thing where there's 100,000 people on it and they're all looking and commenting. And so it became like viral kind of. Does that make sense?
No, you've yeah, that's very interesting because that's basically when it's one market or one channel,
Yeah.
basically Facebook, there's not a lot of options, right? As there
It
is
was the
today.
only option, and then
Right.
on top of that, like, I basically knew this guy. I was his tennis coach, and so he had, like, a mansion, like, house in Beverly Hills, and so we marketed it as, like, a Beverly Hills mansion party, and then I got, like, at the time, the, like, 2 or 3 biggest, like, house party promoters to do it with me, and they did it with me because I had the house, so I, like, had built-in leverage
You
with it.
Yeah, you almost had some X factors in there, right? With all
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
different
wasn't
mix.
yeah, so it wasn't like I just accidentally posted something and it went viral. It
No.
was like it was calculated and I tried to like make it as hype as possible, but that being said, I didn't predict nor could I have predicted that like it would get as big as it did. So I would say that, like most of the time with going viral, you kind of just have to do what you think is like sick and like what you think is the best version of that thing. And if all the stars align and it's like, it pulls out like that, then sometimes things can go viral, you know?
Right. And how did you, kind of, stay in the moment after that event? And then you said you went and did other events. So what kickstarted that into other follow-ons?
I for sure like the one of the first thoughts I had when that happened was, okay, this went viral or this was a hit. But I need to like do something next to keep the momentum going. So I was already like consciously aware of that. And I would say with the entertainment business, you have to always have hits. Like it's like
Yes.
just because one thing hits, like you got to keep going, or you're a one hit wonder, or it's a fast turnaround, so it
You
was
need to
almost
stay
like
you need to stay current, right? You
yeah.
need to be in front of people's phones or
Yeah, like,
whatever at the
I
time.
even explain this to artists, like, when they're starting out that aren't famous yet or they're trying to become famous, like, and I'm definitely not, like, famous, like, I don't if I go to, like, Trader Joe's right now, no one's, like,
Oh,
asking me for my
Lord.
photo, but, I've been in Rolling Stone, I've been in TMZ, I've been in Daily Mail, I've been around just about any name you can be around. So I would say that, my experience with fame is it's not like there's like one button and you're famous. It's more like a compilation of like steps and things that just happen. And at least for me, it's like each year I just feel like I'm kind of like bigger or I have more stuff going on and more people know about me. But it wasn't like there was like an instant thing where one of it made me like famous, if that makes does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's being current, it's being, in the public scene, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, they always say in social media, it's always like it's not the number of posts, it's the frequency of the post or
Yeah.
the social event or whatever you're trying to yeah. So with that, so it's kind of like, kind of fast forward to, the different medias we have now. What is kind of your thoughts on your progression and where do you see it going from there?
Yeah, so I, I guess like back to the fame aspect or the social media aspect or whatever. I think when you're constantly trying to go viral like that too, or that's what you're known for. I feel like that's actually kind of hard to sustain. Especially, I think what people don't realize is it's actually, in my opinion, kind of easy maybe to go viral once, but it's like, how do you keep doing that for like 5 years or 10 years or 15 years? Because you're going to do something and then maybe someone else copies it or it's not cool anymore. And so you have to keep reinventing yourself or like adding to it to like keep progressing like what you are. And so I don't try to necessarily be the most like famous or like no person that I possibly can be. I try to angle myself more on like accomplishments. So like plaques, the Grammy thing, the this, the that. So people come to me more because they want like the cred of, you know what I mean? Or like they know that I've worked on this. So like, and so I feel like that's more sustainable because then I can keep getting paid by like jobs or people or companies or whatever because of the things that I have done. And they're like, okay, Connor's done all these things. We'll keep adding him to this rather than like, I just do some like weird singing video like in my kitchen that gets 5 million views. That doesn't really like do anything for me. You know what I mean? So
Right. I mean,
kind of more how I try to position myself.
right. I mean, it's interesting. I think about artists. I mean, I just saw the Michael movie,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, and how he reinvented himself constantly, or even to his death back in 2008, 2009. Even then, he was going on tour. So he was at 50. He was still like putting himself out there. Still, like I wouldn't say reinvent him because there was a theme to his music and to the way he performed, but it was always trying to be new and trying to be, you know, I don't even know if it was for the accolades. I think he just loved to be an entertainer. So is that part of it? I mean, to me it's always about supporting somebody else because in the end, those are the people who are going to remember you, not the accolades that you get or not the rewards that you get. Those will those will go in history. But if somebody remembers you, your lineage, or your kids' kids remember that you did that, or you promoted somebody else, or that type of perpetuation within either stories or within whoever kind of built up or helped get you better recognized. And I understand about having that cred to be able to rely on so that other people are attracted to you because that attracts you know new artists and new somebody to say maybe you can get them that recognition as well based on your track record.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think like, I didn't like plan all of this out really for any other reason than I just kind of liked doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like at the core of it, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like it was literally this simple. Like I got given an opportunity to like do a birthday party at someone's house for my birthday or whatever, and I liked it, and I liked the feeling of like bringing people together, and then it just kind of was like, okay, like I want to do that again. But I wasn't like planning out like how much money am I going to make off this or how famous am I going to get off this or who am I going to meet or it really wasn't like that. And it wasn't like that even after the fact. Like even when I started booking bigger artists and this and that, like I honestly like lost money on a good amount of them, but I knew that like doing them kind of like helped my brand and would like keep pushing it forward. But it was never about that. Even now, like, I have like plaques or whatever else, but I didn't like set out to do that. It's just, I think more now, like as a positioning thing, it just makes it easier so that I can like monetize my life and like keep progressing what I'm trying to do. But like, that's not like what I'm all about necessarily, if that makes sense.
No, no, no. But kind of go into those relationships or doors opening during these events that maybe led on to the next event. Do you have any of those stories that could?
Sure. Yeah, I can give, yeah. So basically, I did that huge house party that ended up on the news, started to get a name for myself where people actually knew who I was. Because before that one, I wasn't really on the map that much. Then I started like going on Google, booking artists, renting out 18 plus like nightclubs, renting out like downtown LA, like warehouse parties. And I still was doing a couple like mansion parties in between. Did all of that for probably like another year or something. And then by the time, like by around like November of 2013, I had gotten invited to like into the 21 plus kind of celebrity, like Hollywood nightclub circuit. Got invited on my birthday somewhere. And then from there, kind of morphed in from being like a person that could bring like 500 to 1,000 people to a party or a festival or a show to then all of a sudden, like, I was just getting paid a flat fee to like bring like the famous friends that I had or the this or the table like clients, you know? So it became more like bring less people, but like the highest
More
level.
more ambience, better upper class.
Yeah, which was great for me because then I didn't have to put up like 10 or 20K each time. I could just
Right,
get paid a
right.
flat fee and I didn't have all the liability and stuff. But like the example there is I didn't even know that was an option when I was starting off. It was just I got presented that opportunity because, you know, I was probably like the youngest person in that scene doing it with the ability to bring 500 or 1,000 people, you know, but it's because I was putting my own money in and building up like my own hype for like a year and a half leading into it,
So it
you know?
took you basically almost, 12 to 18 months to kind of get yourself established. Is that
Yeah.
a good term for that?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
they started coming to you and booking more of the high end
Yeah.
clients for those type of parties.
Yeah, and, you know, it started off like, you know, I didn't necessarily have, like, the biggest celebrity names or the biggest this or you know, I had, like, maybe mid-tier or B-tier people, you know, and then eventually, like, you get one big name, and then you have the one big name, so then all the other big names wanna come out with you, and that started happening probably, like, early 2015, so it was a constant grind. It wasn't you know, but it started completely from scratch for me just being kinda like a normal high school kid from
Yeah.
Santa Monica High School doing like a backyard party to turn into that. So
Now, did you go to school during this or did you kind of wait to go to college?
no, I was in school and I was on the tennis team, which was kind of crazy. So yeah, I went to Santa Monica High School, graduated like end of 2011, and then I went to this small liberal arts school in Thousand Oaks originally called Cal Lutheran. And so it's maybe like 40 minutes out from LA, like if there's no traffic. So I was driving back and forth from school. There'd be and I played on the tennis team and I was like pretty high up on the I think originally I was maybe like playing like number four singles and two doubles. And then eventually, I think when I finished, I was probably like playing number one doubles and like two or three singles.
In state or in the US? And
That was on the team, but like at one point I was top 10 in the country in doubles.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In
Good for you.
D3, but still it's still
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
that gets some I mean, I did tennis when I was in college or high school and in college.
Yeah.
Never went on a team, but I still can do my serves. I never forget how to do a serve, to
Yeah.
this day.
Well, it's hard. Yeah. If you don't play that much, the timing gets all messed up.
The
But yeah.
timing gets messed up, but I know the procedure. It's just I just need to go into regimented practice. But that's goodness. So you're kind of like juggling those. And did you have any partners, or is it just a sole? Your
Yeah,
sole.
I had multiple different partners, like, for different times of it, but, like, originally, the actual, like, events in LA, like, did it kinda by myself, and then I would, like, cherry pick, like, for example, like, the Project X party, I just kinda was like, "Okay, these are the 2 guys that are, like, the most, like, Facebook famous right now that do the events. I have the house, like, so I'll bring it to them and get them," and you know, but then my buddy that I went to Cal Lutheran with, me and him started doing all the parties out there because I knew how to set the parties up and he knew everyone. So we were
Good.
doing like 1,000 capacity like parties like at its max, like out there probably. And then me and him then started kind of doing the 21 plus Hollywood stuff together because we knew a lot of the college people. from doing the events. And then I also had like my LA base, and that's kind of like what I had to start with in the
Gotcha.
scene.
So what was the next step after the high end parties that you're doing for the 21 plus?
Yeah, so I became, I would say, probably like the go-to promoter for like most of the celebrities that you can think of, like that were going out during that era. So, I was bringing them out, and then I got hit up by a Universal Music Group when I was like 24, and I
Mhm.
got hired as an A&R and a manager. So I'm assuming, they probably wanted to hire someone that was like actually in the scene and knew artists and could put together songs and stuff. And so I wasn't even trying to work in music. It was just I literally got brought in one day randomly and they hired me. And so
It's because your promotion
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
because of the
event.
leverage I had with all of my contacts and stuff like that. So
And this is after you graduated, right? So
I originally actually dropped out. I
okay,
originally dropped Yeah, yeah, I dropped out my 4th year of college and went all in. Like, I put all my money into, like, I rented, like, a house in Hollywood and started promoting, like, 4 or 5 nights a week, and it just took off, like, pretty quick because I got in with, like, some pretty high name, like, celebrities that I was, like, bringing out at the time and stuff, and I think I was, like, 21, and so maybe 22, and so I just kind of felt like I needed to go with it. But yeah, then I ended up going back and finishing I just finished my MBA from USC like
good.
4 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Yeah, so I started that journey like during COVID probably.
So, all right. So you're at Universal. So how did that go, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, so there I started with a rock act named Youngblood. He had like 2,000 followers and like one song out, and the label president at the time was kind of like pick something on our roster that you think you can like blow up, and so started working with him. The plaque that you see behind me, the gold one or whatever, that's one that I did with him, Travis Barker, and Halsey, and so we did that record probably like within a year of working together. And yeah, he just won a Grammy this year for something like he did with Ozzy Osbourne. I think it was like his like like a Grammy for best performance or something like that. I think it was for like a show that they did.
Right.
But I also had another management client that I was managing at the time. He was a producer named Skylar Moans, and I got him placed on Dua Lipa's album Future Nostalgia, and that won a Grammy also. And so I got a Grammy plaque for that one. Yeah, yeah, I have it, like, right there on the wall, so sorry if there's, like, some clothes or I took my jacket off, it's a bit hot,
That's
but
okay. No problem. No,
yeah,
no,
but
no. That's good cred. So I like that. That really gets you, on the scene. You're already on the scene. You know the folks, and then you promote them, and they get their accolades, and then you
yeah,
get
yeah,
your
and I did all of that between the ages of, like, 24 and 26, so that was that's what I'm saying, the progression was crazy with it, but it was, like, really random, and I didn't have, like, a roadmap for it, you know?
right. And so you get to the kind of the almost was it seventh year or from what
Yeah, I
26,
started I
27?
started end of 2011, and then I left Universal end of 2019, so that was, like, 8 years I did
Right,
all that.
right. And now you left on your own, or was it something you needed to do something else? What was the calling
I
to you
did I
there?
did both of those things, like, I broke Youngblood and then I broke the producer, and so I just felt like the next step was to leave and start my own management company. That was kinda yeah, otherwise, I was like, "I'm just gonna stay here and keep signing more things, and then I'll eventually get fired once one of them doesn't work," or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
Yeah. It's
I don't
always
know.
your next one, never your last one, I think it is, right?
Yeah, I never look, like, it's hard. I still battle this. I never know really if sometimes I overthink things or if I actually have, like, a really good gut intuition, but, like, that's what I felt like personally. I was like, I think I learned everything that I could learn, and I think if I keep doing this now, I'm just eventually gonna get fired probably, like, you
Did
know?
you did you feel like like you said, you're gonna have that one that didn't work, and then they just will release you?
That's what it felt like. Like, I feel like I felt like a hamster kind of on a wheel where I just kept doing, like, hits,
The
and
same
then,
thing,
like
if you don't do a
yeah,
hit.
then the second it doesn't work, then they're like, "Oh, like, we're gonna hire the new younger version of you," you know?
Yeah, yeah, I get that, You're always looking over your shoulder. You're feeling like that if this doesn't work, then the next guy is going to take my place.
Yeah.
So
So
getting to that point, this is, kind of what year was this? 2018, 2019?
2019, end of 2019.
So this is right before the COVID. So,
Yeah, which
and
is
you started
crazy.
your own business.
Yeah. COVID was messed up, but it also wasn't like I feel like if you were going to start your own thing, that was maybe the best time to do it because everyone was kind of unemployed or like, you know what I mean? So,
Well, yeah, scurrying to their house and trying to figure out what they're going to do.
yeah. So the crazy thing was is I left to try to become a music manager and then I ended up opening a nightclub with like 4 other partners like in August of 2021. So, and that ended up being a huge hit. So that lasted like 3 years. So the crazy thing is like I left to be the manager and then I ended up being a nightclub owner, which my original goal was to be a nightclub owner before the Universal thing was involved. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
life for me, I feel like it always ends up happening, but not when I want it to. It all like anything I've gotten everything I've ever asked for, but at wrong times, like later on, or does that make sense?
Yeah, no. Maybe you think you're not prepared for it yet, and you think you need to do something else or
I
another opportunity,
No, I literally just think it's a time. I think in my
timing
head
issue
sometimes it's like I want it this, and I think this, and then it ends up happening, but like maybe 2 or 3
later
years.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your nightclub up until 24. So what happened? Why did the nightclub scene that change, or you just didn't feel like it was doing it for you anymore? Or
Those like really hot like Hollywood nightclubs, they don't usually last much longer than like 3 years. And I went through that with One Oak. One Oak lasted, I guess, from like 2014 to 2019, but its best years weren't the last 2,
you
you
think
know?
that's because of the crowd? Do you think that's just because of
It
the
just yeah, it
people
just
in
loses
attendance?
its magic kind of. There's just always something new that opens. And so I knew going into Off Sunset, I was like, okay, thank God this hit. Like I really needed that
Right.
because otherwise I would have just looked like the guy that had a couple music things that worked and then it went
Nothing.
completely radio
Yep.
silent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of also from going through the One Oak thing was like, all right, like cherish this moment because you know how these go. That's not going to last forever. It's like a 2 or 3 year ordeal, you know?
So it seems you 2 to 3 years of it sounds like the longest was 4 years. At least you're promoting when you first started. Do you feel like
Yeah.
you're going to go through a cycle of 2 to 3 years? You think that's your kind of max input into specific?
That's what it feels like, but I just sometimes I just don't know if that's like entertainment cycles or what, or that's just like my life. But yeah, usually it feels like it's like 2 or 3 year cycles for everything.
Yeah, I wonder about that. The attention span. They always say people's attention span is always getting shorter.
Yeah,
But I think for nightclub, yeah, I think newness is always good.
yeah,
And when does it break when it's not new, right? And I don't know why it is 3 to 4 years, but it always seems like that's the length of time that college or high school exists, and
yeah,
it's that crowd growing up, and then the new crowd wants. I mean, I have a daughter, so she always thinks of something new. So that she always says either the past high schoolers, oh, that's passé, and they want to do something new. So it's always this regurgitation of doing something different every 3 to 4 years.
yeah. No, but by the way, like I used to like think it was just a nightclub thing, but there even video games are like that. There's all like I'm always like talking with my friends and like, oh, this video game's coming out, or you know what I mean. And same with movies or anything, So it's just I don't know. It's just when you're in entertainment, you always have to like reinvent and drop the new thing because people just want the new thing. That's just what
Right.
it is.
So you just graduated with your master's. So what is on the horizon, and what are you going to do with that studies you finished up on? And
Yes.
since you're out of the nightclub business for a
Yeah,
couple of years.
so right now I'm planning to fully relaunch my music management company. So I'm in the process of signing a few new clients that I'm really excited about. And then I obviously do a lot of like civic events also. So that was like the new wave that I kind of got after the nightclub stuff stopped.
Now, what are
So
you considering civic events?
so I work with a lot of like democratic orgs and do like, for example, I did like the California Democratic Convention, like after party, like at a nightclub.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was
I
like,
didn't know. I didn't know they had a Democratic Californian
yeah, yeah,
party.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the whole Democratic Party, they do like a convention, I guess. Like I think it was in Anaheim, and that was kind of like the I did one of their after parties or something. And so
Okay.
I've done some bigger thing. Yeah, and so I'll like DJ it, book out the venue, I'll do the whole thing. And so that's kind of how I fell into that. And I've done like a number of those. I have another big one coming up next month, and I think I'll be like DJing for like 600 people or something like that. Yeah,
So you're
but
still kind of you're still doing a mix of what you've already done
yeah.
with just new stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's like what I'm mainly trying to figure out right now. If like me or my company is gonna like turn into more of like a hybrid thing, maybe where like, maybe I'm doing some nightlife stuff while managing artists, or if I'm just gonna like that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out now because I have a lot of momentum with the
Yeah. What do you
events.
do with it? Yeah, it's kind of like what do you do with that momentum?
But those things are huge, because like, I've been to some, like, rallies before where it's, like, 30,000 people. So if I started DJing one of those, yeah, that
Oof.
could scale a lot. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm at an interesting crossroads right now where I have kinda like that going on, but then I'm also in the process of signing a few acts to management. So I don't check back in with me in, like, 6 months. We'll see where I'm at.
Will do. We're kind of coming to the end.
Yeah.
So is there anything, kind of for the audience of, if somebody wanted to get into promoting, in their own location, wherever that may be, do you have any hints or suggestions or thoughts that they, kind of get them going?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you just need to get your own thing going and kind of build up your own leverage. And, like with me, I feel like if you have something going on, then new opportunities will present themselves, but they're not going to come about if you don't have anything going on. So you kind of have to build up your own hype, and then try and grab as much as you can off that hype, and keep it going.
Yeah, it's motion creates motion, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Without action, it's kind of hard to get any more action.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
well, I appreciate your time, Connor. You have a very good grounding on what you're doing, and you keep on expanding. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
congrats on that, and much success. Definitely, I'll come back in 6 months. Maybe have you back on and say, "Hey, what's going on, Connor?"
Yeah, let's
I
do it.
appreciate it. All right,
Cool.
take care. Everybody, say thanks for attending, and stay tuned for our next show next week. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on Design Your Life Your Way. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about success and to align your goals with the achievements of the people around you. Because true victory isn't just about personal wins, it's about fairness, shared growth, and making sure everyone who contributes is rewarded for their hard work. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss a new conversation. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, reach out anytime at info@gngdesignllc.com. Until next time, keep designing your life your way.